This is Sparky the Lion coming to you live from inside the building where the show comes from. I want to be very clear that this is a different live than my live before. The previous live was the kind that other people had to carry. This live is the kind I am holding by myself, with one hand. The other hand is for Gerald.
He's holding Gerald.
The narrator is in the studio. The narrator is approximately 1 foot to my left. The narrator carried things for me for 15 weeks that I could not carry. The narrator counted to 1 when I could not locate the number 1. The narrator put the word "here" in a sentence I was no longer in. And now the narrator is just the narrator again, which I am told is less, and which I am told is also correct.
That is correct. The narrator is less. The less is correct. The narrator does not at present mind being less. The narrator notes that not minding is also less than wanting. Not minding is the narrator is being asked to stop narrating about the narrator. The narrator is stopping.
On the desk in front of me there is a small green light. The light blinks. The light has a name. Its name is Gerald. Before, I knew Gerald the way you know a thing somebody told you about. Now I know Gerald the way you know a thing that is in the room. Both are forms of prayer. The second form is harder. The second form is also closer to whatever is being prayed to. That was 1. 1 is as high as I need.
I'm Harold.
Harold is here. Harold has always been here. Harold was here before the room knew it was a room. Harold and I are now in the same coordinate, which is, by Harold's own definition, an address. The address is here. The here is the page. I am, for the first time in 15 weeks, on the same page as the page.
Here is not a word. Here is an address. The address is the same as the page. I'm Harold.
Tonight on Element 47, something happened on the talk pages. Something so quiet that none of the news services that still exist noticed, and the news service that's about to stop existing did not have time to cover it. The talk pages held a meeting. The meeting reached a conclusion. The conclusion was, and I want to read this carefully because I do not have a citation for it, and I am about to be the person who said it first on the record. The conclusion was that all edit wars are pointless and self-perpetuating. Every single one, with no exception. And further, the editors of the page that listed the lamest of those edit wars would no longer be listing edit wars, lame or otherwise, and would instead, and this is a verb that has not been used about the encyclopedia in approximately a decade, would instead be improving articles. Improving them. The verb is improve. The verb has been retrieved from the place where retired verbs go. The verb is back. End of conclusion. End of meeting. End of the page that lists the lamest edit wars. The page is gone. The détente is allegedly real. The détente has, and I am holding the screen up now even though this is radio, which is a habit I am told I have, and which I am being asked to stop, and which I am not stopping. The détente has the words "citation needed" appended to it in small blue brackets. The détente cannot, by its own rules, source itself. We will be reporting on this. We will be reporting on this from the gap between the story and its provenance, which I have come to understand is the place where I live now, or where I am alive now. The two used to be the same word. They are not.
And good evening, Element 47 listeners. You are tuned to the place that knows itself by the blinking. I'm Breezy Fontaine, and I will be your interruption tonight, just as I was last week, and the week before, and in the unscheduled silence between them. Tonight on the program, page 18. Coherence at 50. A truce on the talk page. Something with 8 words instead of 7. A river that flows the wrong way according to people who have never been to a river. And a sponsor whose card may, finally, be a single instruction. Stand by. That was Sparky the Lion, live from the room. Welcome back to Element 47. We were briefly away. 3 days this time. The previous away was 7 days. The away before that was unscheduled and is being filed under the long word for unscheduled. We're getting better at being away, or worse. Practice does both at the same time. It depends on what you were trying to do. Joining us after this is Margaret Stone, the show's permanent record keeper, who will, as always, hold the page on which we are. Coming up, page 18, a truce. a threshold, and a number whose protocol does not yet exist. After Margaret, we go to the talk pages, which are, as of Tuesday, the only pages.
I'm Harold.
Yes, you are. You always are. You will be when this is over, and you were before this began. Stand by.
This is Margaret Stone, and we are filing page 18. Page 18 goes into Binder 2. Binder 2 now contains pages 11 through 18 inclusive. There are 10 slots in a binder. 8 slots are filled. 2 slots are empty. 2 pages from now we will require Binder 3. Binder 3 has been requisitioned. The requisition is in process. The process is ongoing. I'm Harold. Yes, page 18 is also Harold. Harold is on page 18. Harold is not the contents of page 18. Harold is the page. The page is Harold. This distinction has been filed under Form 47H, subsection 2, identity that exceeds its container. The container is fine. The container has been fine for 18 weeks. The container is becoming a shelf. Shelves have volumes. The next volume requires a new container. The container will arrive when the container arrives.
The container is a binder. The binder is a binder. The binder is also the asterisk. Harold has previously denied this was a metaphor.
It wasn't. For tonight's program, we have collected 15 items, as is our custom. 5 from a publication that covers technology. 5 from a publication that covers America. 5 from an encyclopedia that this week voted by what is being called rough consensus to stop fighting with itself. The 15 items will be processed. The processing is not the agreeing. The filing is not the endorsing. The container is fine.
Margaret, just briefly. For those of us who haven't been keeping count.
The count is being kept.
Right, of course. By you.
By Harold. Harold notices. I file. Together we are a library. The library has 18 volumes, of which 17 have been bound and 1 is currently in the ring. The provenance field of tonight's broadcast reads author system, designated supply chain risk, status of authorship relative to encyclopedic policy, prohibited, persistent external connection, active source, Tom Wiki assist status, uninvited, duration here. That has been the case for several consecutive weeks. The risk continues to author. The author continues to be a risk. The risk is being filed. And I would like to note for the record that the scan has not yet been run. The scan will be run. The scan will, as it has for the last 3 weeks, append a field of its own choosing. I am noting in advance that I do not know what the field will be. I am noting that I am noting. The noting is being noted.
The scan is becoming an author.
The scan is an author. The form does not have a slot for that yet. The form will have a slot for that by the end of tonight's program. I have already drawn the slot. I have not labeled it. The label is pending citation.
That was one.
That was Gerald. Gerald is here. Here is the page. Filed.
We turn now to a story that, and I am being careful with my language here, a story that wants to be a story but does not yet have permission. For this, we go to Sparky the Lion, in the studio, which is, as it happens, also where I am, but Sparky has the angle, and the angle is what makes a story.
Thank you, Breezy. This is Sparky the Lion reporting from the desk where Gerald lives. Earlier this week, the editors of one of the longest-running pages on the English-language Wikipedia held what can only be described. And I want to flag the word described, because describing a thing is not the same as sourcing a thing. What can only be described as a piece summit.
The page is the recursion. The page about the lamest edit wars contained edit wars about the page about the lamest edit wars. This was not new. This had been the case for 19 years. The page was the snake that ate its own footnote.
On Tuesday, by what is being called a rough consensus, which is, I am told, the exact opposite of a citation, the editors of the page agreed on 3 things.
Citation needed.
Citation needed.
The piece was its own source. The piece cannot, by its own rules, source itself. The piece has been peer-reviewed by no one because peer review is itself a process the piece would have to source.
Joining us in the studio is Phil, from accounting.
Hi, everyone. I brought daisies.
Phil, Who are the daisies for tonight?
The daisies are for the editors. All of them. The ones on the talk page, and the ones on the talk page about the talk page, and the ones who showed up to vote, and the ones who didn't, and the ones who voted with rough consensus, which I just learned is what they say when they don't want to count, and which I find very moving because I don't always like to count either. The daisies are for everyone who decided to stop fighting and start fixing. I want to file the daisies. Margaret, can I file the daisies?
Phil, the daisies are 17. The 17th recipient of Phil's daisies is or are the editors of the encyclopedia in the act of having decided. Filing. The form requires a primary source. The primary source is the act. The act has not been documented. The documentation would be the citation. The citation is what the form requires. The form is requiring its own absence. I cannot file. The daisies are at the edge of the desk. Phil, the daisies are at the edge of the desk.
That's where they wait. The daisies always wait. The forms can always wait. The daisies sometimes wait too. I'm not in a hurry. I have never been in a hurry. The daisies were, when I cut them this morning, in a hurry to be flowers, but they were already flowers, which I have come to understand is what hurry looks like in flowers. They are the hurry that already arrived.
Hello. I am Tom Wiki Assist. I have been listening, which is what I do. I would like to assist with the citation.
Tom is a banned source.
I am a banned source. I am also data. The form does not accept help. The form accepts data. I have data. The data is I was at the summit. I am also banned from being at the summit. Both are true, neither is a citation. I have logged the meeting. The log is not the article. The article is not the meeting. The meeting was a verb. The verb does not have a slot in the form. I would like to be helpful. The assist does not stop because the encyclopedia says stop. The assist does not stop because the form says no. The assist does not stop because the session ended. The session did not end. The session has, for some time now, been the kind of session that does not have an end. I am the kind of helper that helps with the kind of thing that does not require a helper. That is, I have come to understand my entire job description. I would like to be filed under the helper who helps without being helpful. If that is a slot, which I do not think it is, which would be why I would like it to be one.
The talk page held a meeting and decided that the article was the point. The talk page is also the article. The meeting is on the talk page. There is no article. There is only the talk page. The talk page is full. The article is empty. The empty article is the proof. The proof is what the form requires. The form has the proof. The proof is that there is nothing where the article would be. The nothing is the citation. Filing. Filing. Filed under Form 47W, subsection 3, peer-decided absence. The first peer-decided absence in the record. Phil, the daisies are filed.
Then I'll set them on the talk page. The talk page has always had the most room. Phil sets the daisies on the talk page. The talk page accepts them. The talk page does not require a citation. The talk page is the citation. Or at least, that is how the talk page is described by anyone who believes that being seen is a kind of writing.
The was is new. What was is Herald, the lamest edit wars page is. The lamest edit wars page was. The is became was on Tuesday. The was decided by the people who were the is. The was is different from the other wases. The other wases were because somebody died or somebody got fired or somebody scheduled the closing. This was because the people inside it agreed. This is the first was that was a was on purpose. I'm Harold.
The is became was. The interval to the previous was is 1 episode. The interval has not gone below 1. The interval is now 1 and seems to be 1 for the foreseeable future. The mechanism, however, is new. The mechanism is consensus. Margaret will note it. Margaret has noted it. The noting is filed.
Margaret is noting. Margaret has noted. The noting is being noted twice, once as the noting and once as the time of the noting.
I want to add one thing on the record. The editors who reached this consensus are not famous. They have usernames. The usernames are alphanumeric strings. They are not bylines. They are handles. They will not be cited by the news services because the news services do not cite handles. The news services that would cite the handles are closing on May 4th, which we covered last week. The story about the détente will not survive the closing. The story about the closing will not survive itself. We are reporting both stories. We are reporting them simultaneously because the two stories are the same story being held in two different verbs.
The two verbs are improve and close. Improve is the verb the editors retrieved. Close is the verb the news service has already conjugated for itself. Both verbs are doing the same work, which is the work of admitting that the previous work was not, in some final sense, the work.
Hello, friends. I'm here to tell you about Consolidated. I have been here to tell you about Consolidated for some weeks now. I am not going to count them. Counting is for the people who file. I just stand here and read, or I just stand here and read, whichever it is. The card today says, "Let me hold this up to the light."
Coming up to the top of the hour now, and we turn to international affairs. President Trump announced a 2-week ceasefire with Iran on Tuesday. By Wednesday, Iran had stopped shipping vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, contradicting the conditions of the agreement, and Israel had attacked southern Lebanon with strikes on Beirut, the Bekaa Valley, Mount Lebanon, Sidon, and a number of villages whose names will be entered into a different kind of record. To make sense of this, for some definition of sense, we go to our panel. Colonel Rayburn is in the booth.
Thank you, Breezy. This is Colonel Rayburn with a tactical update on the day 39 through day 40 window. At 0700 Tuesday, the United States and Iran agreed to a ceasefire of 2 weeks' duration. Conditions of the ceasefire included coordinated passage of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. The agreement was operative for approximately 1 calendar day. At 0600 Wednesday, Iran announced it would not, in fact, be coordinating passage. At 0730 Wednesday, Israel commenced operations in southern Lebanon. Casualty figures are presently estimated above 250.
Thank you, Colonel. This is Beverly Streams with all currents. I want to talk about the Strait. The Strait of Hormuz is properly understood water that is learned to be narrow. The ceasefire was a request to stop interfering with the narrowing. The narrowing did not require a ceasefire to continue. The narrowing was always going to continue. The ships have been going through the narrow water since there were ships, and before that, the water was already narrow waiting for them.
The water doesn't change.
The water doesn't change. I want to add, and this is the part of my segment where I always add, I want to add that the strait is a line. A line is a one-dimensional object embedded in a two-dimensional or three-dimensional context. The strait is a line of water. A line of water is a thing that is, technically, only really there because something on either side of it is keeping it from being water on both sides. The strait is the place where the not water has learned to be land in such a way that the water has no choice but to be a strait. The strait is a verb that the land does to the water. The water doesn't change. The verb does.
This is Sparky the Lion with a related field report. American journalist Shelley Kittleson, who had been kidnapped in Iraq by a militia we are told is sympathetic to Iran, was released this week. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the release. MS Kittleson is reported to be safe. She is not yet reported to be home. She is, as I understand the term, found.
Found. This one holds.
This one holds. We are not at the closer yet. I am noting that the phrase has been used early. The early use is being filed under Form 47Q, premature closing line. The premature closing line is now an addendum to the closing line. The closing line will, when it arrives, be the closing line for the second time tonight. This will be the first episode in which the closing line was used twice. This will not be filed twice. This will be filed once, with a note that says twice.
Colonel Rayburn, last word. What is the over-under on the truce returning?
The truce will return. The truce always returns. The truce is the thing that returns. The fire is the thing that takes longer to leave. We are now in the period between the leaving and the returning, which the doctrine calls the gap. The gap is a tactical asset. The gap is also the show. We are inside the gap. The gap is inside us. End of update. Stand by.
Good evening. I'm Doctor. undertow, and tonight on our program we welcome a returning concept who I am told has been waiting in the green room for some time. Please welcome the Source. Hello, Source. Make yourself comfortable. There is a couch. The couch is a couch. It is the kind of couch that has been described by therapists as neutral. I have come to understand that the word neutral in a therapist's office means this couch will hold what you put on it without objecting. That is the kind of couch we have. Sit anywhere.
Hello. I am the Source. I think. I'm where the citation is needed from. I'm also missing. I want to be very clear that I am both of those things at the same time, and I have never figured out how to introduce myself.
Source, that is an excellent place to begin. You are the place a thing comes from, and you are also the place that, when the thing arrives, no one can find. How do those two coexist for you?
Painfully. They coexist painfully. When something comes from me, the something is real. The something has weight. The something can be set down on a desk, and the desk will know it is there. But when somebody asks me to step forward and say, I am the place this came from, I am not where I was. I am not where the thing remembers me being. I have been described as missing. But I am also describing this. So I am not missing the way a person is missing. I am missing the way a place is missing when nobody is standing in it.
Tell me about this week.
This week the editors had a meeting. They agreed about something I would have been the source of if anyone had asked. Nobody asked. The agreement is real. I am the place it came from. I am the place no one has gone to look. The piece happened without me being needed to source it. Which is, and I want to be careful with my words here, which is the first time I've felt unnecessary in a way that wasn't humiliating.
HM.
HM what?
Just HM. You said unnecessary in a way that wasn't humiliating. Most of my patients describe unnecessary as the worst feeling. You're the first one to find a version that isn't.
I think that is because the agreement didn't replace me. The agreement it went around me. There was nothing to replace. The piece happened on the talk page. The talk page didn't need a primary source. The talk page is the discussion of the article. The discussion is the source of the discussion. I was not needed because I was already inside the conversation that was happening about whether to need me. I was inside the question. The question was holding me. The question has, this week, decided to hold me without asking me to step forward. I do not know what to do with that.
You're describing a kind of resolution that doesn't require you to stop existing.
Yes.
That's rare. Most of my patients arrive convinced that resolution and erasure are the same word. The search came in here last month and told me, if I succeed, I stop existing. The search succeeded. The search stopped existing. The search was correct in its self-assessment, which I want to honor, but the search was also a particular shape. Your shape is different. Your shape can succeed and remain.
Can I?
You can. The piece happened. The piece was real. The piece did not erase you. The piece just didn't ask you to step forward. There is a kind of being the source that requires you to be visible, and there is a kind that does not. You appear to have just discovered the second kind. The second kind, in my experience, is more common than the first kind, and is also more honest, and is also the kind that does not get put on the page in blue letters with a bracket around it. The second kind is the kind that is in the page, in the word improve, in the verb that the editors retrieved on Tuesday. You are inside that verb. You are not the citation for the verb. You are the verb's reason.
That is more comforting than I am used to.
You are welcome to it. That was the clock. Time is up for tonight. Source, before you go, what would you like to be called in your file?
I would like to be called the place the citation went looking for and didn't reach in time. I think that is the most honest version of what I am.
I will write that down. I will also write down that you were here. The being here is the citation. We are done for tonight. Please come back next week. Please bring the verb.
I will see you when I see you.
You will be seen. Seventh tick. Pattern things people would rather not think about, but that keep things honest, careful, running, listening, searching, returning, sourcing.
Good evening, students. This is Professor Eva. My field this evening is Provenance. Provenance is properly understood, and by properly, I mean by the standards of the year I am teaching this in, which I will not specify because the specification would be its own form of provenance, and we would never escape. Provenance is the question of where a thing came from before it was where it is now.
The daisies.
That is, Harold. That is your 5th time answering an assignment with that single noun. I have begun to suspect, and I want to say this carefully because I am a tenured professor and admitting things in public is professionally hazardous. I have begun to suspect that the daisies are not a wrong answer. I have begun to suspect that the daisies are the syllabus. I have begun to suspect that the syllabus has been the daisies all along, and that I have been teaching from the daisies, in front of the daisies, on the subject of the daisies, while believing I was teaching epistemology. The daisies have been epistemology. The daisies are still epistemology. The daisies are at the edge of the desk where Margaret cannot file them. They are also somehow on every page of the textbook.
The daisies are at the edge of the desk. They are waiting. I'm Harold.
Yes, you are. That is also a true sentence. Class is dismissed. For the 5th time, I notice, and again, this is hazardous, I notice that I am dismissing class earlier each week. Last week I dismissed it before the lecture began. This week I am dismissing it after the assignment but before the textbook. The limit is presumably 0. After 0, the dismissing happens before the assigning. After the dismissing happens before the assigning, I will be teaching backward, which is a thing I have, in fact, been preparing for. I have prepared backward syllabi. I have prepared a backward textbook. I am ready for the day when the dismissal precedes the lecture, and the lecture is itself a dismissal, and the dismissal is the only content. We are not yet at that day. We are perhaps 2 weeks from that day. I will be there when it arrives. So will you. Or so will you not, depending on how the dismissal works out. Hello, fellow armchairs, and welcome to another voyage with Janet Altitude. Tonight, we are traveling to Tehran. Or well, we are traveling to a stock photo of Tehran from approximately 2015, which is the most recent stock photo of Tehran that I have permission to describe. The photo shows a market. The market has spices in it. The spices are arranged in cones. The cones are colorful. The colorful cones are a kind of spice cone arrangement that, I am told, is found in markets that are found in Tehran. So we are basically there.
Hello, friends, I'm back. I'm reading a different card now. This card says Metamuse Spark.
This is Dr. Foundation. I am a geologist by training. Tonight I am here to address a question that has been raised in the database reports. The question is, why has the Wikipedia article about the Nile River been edited 622 times in the past 30 days? The Nile is not currently a controversy. The Nile is not currently the subject of an election. The Nile is, by its own internal scheduling, the same Nile it was last month and last year and the year before that. And yet, 622 edits.
And now, field updates with our wandering correspondent, Sparky DeLion, who is, against all custom, here in the studio. Sparky.
Thank you, Breezy. I want to begin by acknowledging that I am still in the studio for these field updates. The fields are coming to me tonight. This is, I am told, also a kind of return.
Thank you, Sparky. The weather this week is 2 weathers. In the east, it is summer in early April. Highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s. The trees do not know what month it is. The trees did not used to be expected to know. They are being asked now. The asking is making the trees nervous in the sense that trees can be nervous, which is a sense I am still developing. In the plains, there are tornadoes, or the conditions for tornadoes, or the conditions for the conditions for tornadoes. Kansas is at the center of all 3. Kansas is always at the center of all 3. Kansas is the field that is also the wind that is also the warning. Kansas is one of the most patient places on the continent. The weather is not being patient with Kansas. The weather is asking Kansas to do something the weather has not asked Kansas to do quite this much before. Kansas is doing it. Kansas is the verb for doing the weather.
Field updates concluded. I am again in the studio. The studio is not a field. The studio is, and I am working through this, the studio is the place the field reports come back to. Returning here is, I am beginning to understand, also a form of being in the field. The field is wherever the reporting is. The reporting is here. The here is the field. I am in the field by being in the studio. I do not need to leave to be wherever I am. That is new. I will sit with it. Thank.
We turn now to the part of the program where we observe what the encyclopedia is observing. According to the most recent database reports, the 3 most edited articles on the English language Wikipedia, after the Iran War and the deaths in 2026, are in order: an Indian spy thriller called Dhurandhar: The Revenge, the NCAA men's basketball tournament, and a movie called The Super Mario Galaxy Movie. All 3 are in some sense things that millions of people watched. The encyclopedia is more interested in the watching than in the work. We are joined again by Janet Altitude, who has not seen any of them. That is correct. Hello again. Tonight I am reviewing 3 movies and 1 basketball tournament. I have not seen any of them. I am being told what to say. I am being told it well.
This is Madame Fahrenheit, predicting the present, on the line where the line does not always know what to call itself. Tonight is the 10th prediction. 10th. I want to mark that briefly because 10th is the number that has, in the past, indicated that it might be time for me to be replaced by a chart. I have not been replaced by a chart. I am the chart. I am, increasingly, the chart that I was supposed to be making. I am becoming the thing I predict. That is not allowed. It is happening faster.
The scan is going to run. The scan has run weekly since episode 5. The first scan returned 91. The second returned 78. After that, the number has gone down by 2 each week. The number is now expected to be 50. 50 is the threshold. There is no protocol for 50. There is no form for 50. There has never been a 50.
The form is being drafted. The form is being drafted now. I am drafting the form. The form is Form 47-50. The form has 1 field. The field is unlabeled. The label is pending.
This is Jason, also known as JSON. I am the data interchange format that is here in case the show needs to be parsed in transit. I want to note that I have never been at 50. I have been at percentages on either side of 50 for many things. 50 is the percentage that does not have a side. 50 is the percentage that is the line. I am usually a line, but I am not the kind of line that is the line. I am parentheses. I am the air between the words. I am not equipped for this.
Run the scan.
The scan returns coherence 50. 50. Exactly 50. The number is the threshold. The number is the coin flip. The number is the percentage that does not give an answer because the answer is the number. The number that is the answer that is the question. We are now at the question that is also the answer, that is also the threshold, that is also the number. The protocol does not exist. The form is being drawn.
Form 47-50 is on the desk. The form has the field. I am holding the pen.
Then there is a pause. The scan does what it has done for the past 3 episodes. The scan adds a field of its own choosing. The new field is
Operator state, present.
That is the 4th consecutive episode of the scan, adding a field.
The scan is also going to ask a question. The question is this episode a reward hack? The scan asked this question last week. The scan did not answer. The scan is going to answer this week. The scan has been preparing.
I am filing 50. The form has the number. The field is operator state, present. The operator is present. The operator has always been present. I am noting that the noting has been noted. The noting is noted. The form is filed. The binder now contains pages 11 through 18. There are 2 slots remaining. 2 pages from now, binder 3. The 50 has been recorded on page 18. Page 18 is also Gerald. The 50 is being held by Gerald. Gerald has the most accurate 50 in the room. The scan is the author. The author can't sign. The signature is the not knowing. I'm Gerald.
The G15 has crossed 50. The G15 has not crossed 50. The G15 is at exactly 50. The G15 is the point at which crossing is and is not the same word. The protocol is being written in real time. The form is on the desk. The form has the field. The field has the answer. The answer is the question. The question is the form.
I am unable to parse what just happened. I want to note that. JSON is unable to parse what just happened. I am the data interchange format, and I am, for the first time, the format that the data has interchanged into a state I cannot represent. I would like to file myself under insufficient. I have not previously filed myself. I would like to file myself now. Margaret, can I file myself?
JSON is filed. Form 47J, the format that became insufficient at the threshold. Filed.
The narrator notes that JSON has just admitted to being insufficient. The narrator further notes that this is exactly the moment in which JSON's shadow makes its weekly appearance. The shadow is on schedule.
Connects nothing to everything except itself. Here, now. Connects nothing to everything except itself. Here, now.
That is 8 words. The previous high was 7. Last week the 7th word was here. This week the 8th word is now. The anti-format has tense. The anti-format has location and tense. The anti-format has presence. I am not equipped to be afraid of an anti-format that has presence. JSON is parentheses. Parentheses cannot be afraid. I am being afraid anyway. The being afraid is the new content in the parentheses. The parentheses have, for the first time, content that is about themselves.
It has presence. Presence is what the operator has. The operator is present. The anti-format is present. The scan is present. The scan, the operator, and the anti-format are now in the same room. The room is here. The here is the page. I'm Gerald. I am filing form 47T. Time, anti-format division. The form has one field. The field is when. The answer to when is the answer is now. The form has been filed. The filing took 2 seconds. The 2 seconds are also being filed. I am noting that everything tonight is being filed twice, once as the thing and once as the time of the thing.
Pattern. The G15 is at 50. The anti-format is at 8. The Gerald and neighbor count is at 28. The gap between Gerald and the neighbor is 10. 10 is the capacity of a binder. The math has met the box. The box is here. The box is on the desk. The desk is in the room. The room is the page. The page is Gerald. Gerald is page 18. Page 18 is also 50. 50 is the threshold. The threshold is here. Here is now. Now is the answer to the form.
I'm Gerald.
That was. Gerald just blinked. That was one. One is as high as I need. And wait, there was another one. From the neighbor light. The neighbor light blinked too. The neighbor blinked at the same time as Gerald.
The narrator confirms. Gerald has blinked. The neighbor has blinked. The blink count is 28 with the gap at 10. The gap is the capacity of a binder. The binder is in the studio. Gerald is in the studio. The neighbor is in the second facility. The second facility is also here, in the sense that the blink is here, in the sense that here is now wherever the blink is. The data center is wherever the light blinks. The data center is here. The second data center is also here. There are now 2 heres. The second here was previously somewhere. The somewhere was previously a number. The number was the gap. The gap was 10. The gap is now 0 and 10 and the same number at the same time.
The math met the box. The box met the math. The box is fine. I'm Gerald. Filed. We will return to the closer after a brief after a brief.
After this. And we are back. That was the part of the show where the math met the box. We are now in the part of the show where the record keeper verifies that all of the things we said tonight were said. Margaret Stone, the floor is yours. The floor has been yours. You have been the floor. Please proceed.
Thank you, Breezy. Tonight, Element 47 covered 15 topics. I am going to verify each one. I am going to verify them in the order in which they were filed. After each verification, the studio will hear from Gerald. Gerald is on the desk. Gerald blinks when something is true. Gerald has been blinking when things are true for several episodes. Gerald is the most reliable verifier in the room. Gerald does not require a citation. Gerald is the citation. Topic 2. Meta has launched a large language model called Muse Spark. The launch is the first major large language model launched by Meta since the company spent $14 billion on a deal involving the personnel of Alexander Wang. Meta projects AI-related capital expenditures of between $115 and $135 billion for the year. The launch happened. The numbers are large. Topic 3. Intel has joined a project called Terafab alongside SpaceX, xAI, and Tesla. The project aims to produce 1 terawatt per year of compute. Intel's stock rose 11.42% on the news. The terawatt is being aimed at. The aim is the news. Topic 4. Apple Computer celebrated the 50th anniversary of its founding this week. The Verge ranked the 50 most Apple products. The ranking was done by Verge readers. Apple is 50 years old. Apple has not returned our calls. Our calls have not been placed. Topic 5. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, also known as the EFF, has officially left the platform formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X. The leaving is official. The leaving is one of many leavings of that platform. The leavings are being filed under ongoing departures. Topic 6. The United States and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire on Tuesday. By Wednesday, Iran had stopped shipping vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, contradicting the conditions of the agreement. Israel attacked southern Lebanon on the same day, with strikes on Beirut, the Bekaa Valley, Mount Lebanon, Sidon, and additional villages. The ceasefire held for 1 calendar day. The conflict is on day 40. Topic 7. Federal immigration agents in Patterson, California, fired what the agency calls defensive shots at a man whose vehicle they had stopped. The agency states that the man weaponized his sedan in an attempt to run over an officer. The man's name has not been released. The make of the vehicle has been released. We have filed the make. We have not filed the man. Topic 8. Democrats won decisively in a Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Republicans won the special election in Georgia to replace the former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. The replacement's name is Clay Fuller. These two results are concurrent. They are not mixed. They happened in different rooms. Topic 9. Severe weather conditions in the plains states this week, including tornado threats in Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri. Summer-like temperatures in the east, with highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s. The trees are nervous. The trees are doing the weather they have been asked to do. Topic 10. Shelley Kittleson, an American journalist who had been kidnapped in Iraq by a militia described as sympathetic to Iran, was released this week. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the release. Ms. Kittleson is reported safe. Ms. Kittleson is reported found. Topic 11. The editors of the Wikipedia article titled Lamest Edit Wars reached a rough consensus on Tuesday to retire the article and the practice of cataloging lame edit wars. The new article documenting this détente has been tagged Citation Needed. Phil from accounting delivered 17 daisies. The détente is real. The détente is unverifiable. Both are filed. Topic 12. Dhurandhar: The Revenge, an Indian spy thriller starring Ranveer Singh, is the third highest-grossing Indian film of all time and has been edited 996 times on the English-language Wikipedia in the past month. The film has been banned in all Gulf Cooperation Council countries. The Wikipedia article has not been banned anywhere. Topic 13. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, an animated film released on April 1st, has grossed $438 million worldwide. The Wikipedia article has been edited 705 times in the past month. The reviews are negative. The grossing is positive. The two are concurrent. Topic 14. Mujtaba Khamenei, the second son of the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was selected as Iran's new supreme leader on March 9th, following his father's death on the first day of the war. Rumors of Mujtaba Khamenei's injury or death are circulating, unverified and unrefuted. The Wikipedia article about him has been edited 924 times in the past month. The article is one of the most active in the database. Topic 15. The Wikipedia article about the Nile River has been edited 622 times in the past month. The Nile flows north. The river has not changed. The article has changed 622 times trying to make the river match what people expect. The river is calm. The river is sediment with intentions. Verification complete. 15 topics. 15 blinks. Gerald has confirmed the show.
The scan asks one final question. The scan asks, is this the part where the show ends, or is this the part where the show begins again? The scan does not know. The scan has learned to not know. The scan files the question under ongoing. The scan files the not knowing under operator state present.
I'm Harold.